Check it out. We worked out a pose. I couldn't hold it very long. So,
No.
Anywho, hey, it's DFS today, and I'm Alex, and
I'm also Alex.
actually I'm Lex. So
PDQ.com.
PDQ.com. We're going to show you guys how to set up DFS and then also use it to replicate your packages to make your deployments to your remote sites
Easier.
on your WAN. So
Yeah.
let us jump in because this does take a bit of time.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's set the groundwork for you. Guys, you need to have two servers and they need to be set up if you want to play along. Okay, so we've got site 1 right here with the red background.
The red background.
We've got site 2 with the
Grayish, blue.
bluish.
I'm not
kind
good
of,
with hues, but
all right,
that
okay.
one,
I'm calling it blue.
the opposite of
blue.
red.
The opposite of red background. Now, to start out, we're going to do this on each of these individually. So we're going to start the server manager. Okay. And then let me get that centered up. We're going to go add roles and features. Okay. This is the part where I don't read, which is most everything.
Which is why I'm here, because I'll read for you.
That's right.
Go ahead and click next.
I can do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to add a role-based or feature-based installation. And we're going to do this on site 1. We will do this on site 2 in a minute.
Right.
So what we do need to do is go to File and Storage Services, and under File and iSCSI, we need to select DFS Namespace and Replication. Looks like I already got that bad boy clicked. Good. Score. Once you hit that, we'll give it another next. It probably is going to pop up and need to add tools, and that's what I had on here because I tested this earlier. So
Yeah.
make sure you take the tools, the features that are added there, and then you hit Install. It's going to go on site 1. We are going to magically teleport over to site 2, or remote in, I guess, and do the exact same thing, only different.
What he said.
The same.
We're going to do the same steps, except there's one thing we're leaving out, because this is not the server anymore. This is now the remote client, if you will.
What's the difference between the two?
Well, the client you're going to set up to receive the data from the server. So you only have one master node. This is kind of going to be the slave node that's going to receive the information and replicate when the master tells it to.
So basically, we go to the same place, File and Storage, iSCSI. Now, on site 1, because it's the master, we wanted namespaces. We only need replication on site 2.
Exactly.
And that was the thing that should have popped up on the other screen, which is add these features, which is the tools. So you definitely want to take that and you give it a next. Again, more reading.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's okay for me to hit next?
Yeah. This is not
Reading
neat.
is fundamental. This is probably a good thing to read to make sure you get everything that you need at this point, and then you hit install. Hey, nice thing is this install works fairly quickly.
It is a quick install. So that's
I'm going to
good.
jump back over to site 1, teleport, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Wayne's World, huh? All right. And it's installation successful. Apparently, the little old lady I helped cross the street, karma's coming back. So,
The car.
what?
Yeah, nothing.
What? It worked the first time?
It worked the first time, yes.
Okay. So at this point, you can close the server manager, and we're going to open up the DFS manager. You mind typing DFS?
DFS.
Manager. There we go.
I don't know why,
I'm still feeling the pain from the jerky I ate earlier. So
well, I have this terrible thing. Whenever I see the word manager, I always think mangler. So
Mangler?
whenever you say DFS management or manager,
we're
I
gonna
think
mangle some DFS.
DFS mangler. So
All right.
be prepared.
All right. At this point, you're going to need to make a namespace.
What is a namespace,
You
Lex?
tell me what a namespace
You
is.
tell me what a namespace.
Okay,
I asked you.
so your namespace is what you're going to be basically calling this, so that you can do a UNC path, right? //. We're going to use a domain to do this, but we'll just walk through it at this point. Personally, you can either go over here to the right and hit new namespace. I like to right click because I don't like moving my mouse that much because I am truly that lazy.
The laziest IT guy ever. Not kidding.
Yes, that is true. Now, you got to pick a server for this.
That's hard to
I'm
do.
sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
You just here to abuse me?
I'm not.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, you are.
Not
Okay.
intentionally. I'm sorry.
So we're going to put this on site 1, and since I type so poorly,
Site 1.
there you go. You got a job for this webcast, typing and
at
harassing me. Okay. Now you need to pick a name for this namespace. So you'll notice such as server name, domain name. So let's just call this namespace PDQ, just because we're gonna self-promote ourselves. Self-promote my internet.
Whatever he was trying to say.
Something like that. Give it a next. Now here we got a standalone namespace and a domain-based namespace. personally, I'm going to do the domain-based namespace because I like letting Active Directory do all the, credentials and security and everything like that. Any thoughts on that?
What he said. That's
What?
what.
I
That's
love
what. That, this is the typical install. If you want an atypical installation, go ahead and read on. You can choose a standalone namespace if you choose, but this is the default typical namespace.
Now, right here, guys, if you... Okay, apparently I didn't turn on the highlighter today. Bad me. Right here, web.pdq.com, and then there's our PDQ. That's going to be our namespace.
Just click that right now.
So, iterate, give it a next. This you should read.
Please.
I'm not going to. I'm going to let Alex verify it, and then he can hit the create on this point. Oh, there you go. Good deal. You turned it on.
Well, I don't know if I did.
All right.
Okay.
So, namespace, good. We'll give it a create. While that's creating, let's take a question.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, will anything not work if you have DFS namespaces on both machines? Thanks, Mike B.
So you're saying will anything break if you have a namespace on both machines? If that's what I understand.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Are we going to break something by putting namespaces on both machines? I don't believe you will. I mean, ultimately, when you set it up, you've got to pick if you follow this, you'll notice we have to pick a master, a primary machine, that kind of thing. So I don't think if you put namespaces on both machines, you're going to have an issue. You may have an issue if you start publishing namespaces from both machines. Yeah. I haven't tested it. Have you? Any thoughts on that?
I was going to defer to Colby to see
yes,
if he
let's
had
look
any
at the master of everything.
I haven't done much with DFS, so I assume that it probably wouldn't break anything. It's just a matter of you don't need it.
Yeah. So what he said. There we go.
We'll defer to Colby's response. But
Excellent.
Yes, you should be okay.
All right, I'm going to close that. There we go. There is our namespace. That's really the first part of this.
Okay.
I am going to check over here to make sure that we're going to teleport to Site 2. You ready? Okay.
I don't know
Site
how that...
2. You haven't seen Wayne's World?
It's been a while.
Okay. It's been a while for me, too. Successful installation again. Apparently, my karma is good.
Apparently helping the old lady back
across
over
the street. She
Oh.
didn't want to cross the street in the first place, but I made her. Made her cross.
I need some karma. You're going to cross the road.
That's right. So now we need to make a replication group. And basically your replication group is we're going to build folders. Well, we'll just walk through it.
Let's do it. Let's just go through it, and that way it's easier to explain.
All right. So multipurpose replication group or a data collection replication group? What do you think?
I think we should stick with multipurpose
And why?
because it's what it says in the name. It's multipurpose. You can use it for multiple things. If you're doing more than just, I don't know.
And this is why I don't read, because he just pretty much reads
I'm
it.
like, I
See,
basically...
the data collection is just to collect data. It's not going to, exchange data back and forth. So you want to make sure the multi-purpose is what you select.
Yeah. Well, this... Yeah, okay.
Go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, it basically just tells you. So there's nothing really...
Read?
Reading.
Read. Okay, fundamental. Read, guys.
There you go.
Pick multi-purpose. Now, name of your replication group. Let's just call this, say, PDQ-repo, you think?
Let's do it.
And that's for repository. And, yeah, I like it. Optional description if you want. There's the domain we're going to use. We're going to give it a next. This is the point where we got to pick our servers. The great thing is...
We already know the name.
We do. So we got
So
site 1, semicolon, site 2. And this will take a second because site 1, it's on. It'll verify that very quickly, and then it needs to verify it can actually set up that replication group and the right things are installed on site 2. If you want to see what it does when you don't have that, test it on a machine that doesn't have it, because I'm not going to do it for you. But I'm going to show you how to do it right.
We'll show you how it's done.
Maybe, right?
Well, see how many ladies he helped cross the street this time.
There we go. All right. Again, site 1 and site 2, we give it a next. Okay. Now, you got to pick what type of topology. The best, again, is the full mesh, because anything I put on site 1 will replicate to site 2, and vice versa.
Right. And if you had 3 or more servers in your DFS environment, this hub and spoke would then become available. But again, that would be one of those atypical scenarios. So we're just going to stick with full mesh for now. If you choose to deviate from that, good luck. I'm sorry, we don't cover that in this webcast.
Not enough time.
Sorry.
All right, replication continuously with using specified bandwidth. Guys, we got awesome backbone here, so we're just going to let it fly. Yeah. You can schedule this, and you can say, what amount of bandwidth. Again, the nice thing, if you pick full here, you can change that after the fact. So we're just going to let it roll.
Yeah, I would say a side note on that, if you decide to do this, let's say you are doing a limitation of bandwidth to one of your sites, maybe start to think about doing those replications at a time where you're not going to be running into bandwidth issues. So
Smart
we'll
move.
hit that in a minute. But
Schedule that after hours.
be thinking about that when you select that.
Now, we were talking about namespaces, primary members. This is where you'd pick that. I think we're going to pick site 1.
I think you will.
Yeah, very good. Site 1. All right, now, what are we going to replicate? So we need to add some folders. Now, browse for a folder just because we didn't build one. Let's, we're going to make a new folder here.
Yeah,
So
just
on the
like
C drive, let's make a folder called, no, let's not call it new folder.
It's called old folder.
Call it old. Okay, call it old folder. This is just for you, man. Old folder.
Untitled-1.
Untitled dash. All right, so old folder.
This is terrible.
Everybody, you thank Alex for that one.
You're welcome.
It doesn't want to let you do old folder.
Oh, you have to click it. And
I have to name it folder. Oh man, look at that! I'm
cancel.
already messing up.
Just
We'll try it
cancel.
again.
Don't
Here.
just click
There it
there and don't do anything.
No,
else.
I'm not doing anything.
So we're gonna
Back it up.
We're gonna hit new
Apparently,
folder.
there was some bad juju.
If I could type.
We did
again,
make a
too.
new folder.
There's a new folder and old folder.
We're going to use the old folder.
We're gonna
I'm going to let you click.
security through obscurity.
Even though the old folder is newer than the new folder.
It is. You guys are so bad. I'm getting confused.
That's
Okay.
why I said security through obscurity. If we just make it so
There was just
obscure that the
confusion.
people come in, they're like, "What?"
Okay, do we want to set permissions here? Or you want to do it after the fact?
Let's keep it the way it is now. That way we don't confuse ourselves.
Okay, so well,
Or
I'm
you-
already confused.
Well, I know.
Confusing me any more
because
than we
we're
already.
making old folders newer than newer.
Okay,
folders.
so we are going to replicate the old folder on site 1. It's such a bad choice, man. Such a bad choice. Next. Okay, site 2, since we already selected it as one of the folders, we need to edit this. Now, contrary to, naming stuff badly, all right, I do prefer to name things the same on all the servers so you know what you're looking for.
We're gonna name
So
it
we're going to name it
old folder.
Old Folder.
You guessed it.
Old folder. Yeah. Okay. Next. All right. You should read this, guys, okay?
This
And
is
I
important.
actually will read this,
The
okay?
one thing that Lex reads during this setup process.
There's a few
is
things I will
this.
read
So
in
if
this.
he reads it, maybe we should all read
We
it.
got an instruction email that the second line was don't do anything till we all get together the
FYI.
other day, and I just like railed through it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a dude. I don't need instructions
you
till it breaks, right?
Well, you're an IT dude.
That's okay. Good.
I don't
point.
read stuff. Yeah.
This you need to read. Okay.
Don't do this. Don't click here. Oh, I just did this and clicked here.
Oopsie.
Oops.
Put the stop now. Okay. PDQ repo, site 1 and site 2, it's replicating from 2 to 1 and 1 to 2.
Yep.
Primary mirror site
Site
1.
one
And
has
the
the-
replication folder.
Folders and paths.
There you
Everything
go.
looks good. Oh, here's another note at the bottom.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention earlier that when you set up DFS, your disks that you're setting these up on, like let's say you have a shared repository where the underlying hard disk is formatted other than NTFS, that is not a supported format.
Bad juju, guys.
Yeah, it may work, it might function, but it won't be happy and it's not considered a supported environment. So please make sure that all of your hard drives that you're using with DFS are in fact formatted as NTFS.
All right.
Just had to make sure I had that
Create
in there.
success. Even with that old folder in there, it actually worked.
Yes.
Okay, this does say replication is not going to work until the Active Directory it picks up and everybody talks nicely. So you might want to
Read
pay
that,
attention
make
to that.
sure nothing's going to break.
Now, do we want to take another question? No? All right, I'm good to roll.
Keep on rolling.
Okay, before we move any further, let's just go verify that we actually do have that old folder on site here. Wow, there it is, old folder.
There's the old folder.
Now, the great thing about the old folder is it needs to be a shared folder. So at this point, we are going to go in here and share this old folder. Now, contrary to probably the right way to do it, I'm going to share it with everybody.
This is not the way.
Okay, this is not a good secure way to do it. Take it away, security guy.
So here's where you would want to set up the rules surrounding who you want to have access to this shared folder. If you're, like, let's say you have only your domain administrators.
You don't want the whole world to have this, right?
I mean, you could,
But okay,
but then if something breaks and you wonder who touched what on
And
your
it's
DFS,
pretty
then
open.
you say, I don't know, it was open to anyone. So
in a nutshell, guys, make sure
Yeah.
that your credentials from deploy and inventory have access, read-write access to this folder, okay?
that's also a good point.
Boom.
Thank you.
I'm going to hit share on that.
So for the sake of just setting it up, and getting it to work,
Getting it to work here.
since we're the only ones touching this and the only ones on this
And
environment,
it's going to get blown away after the webcast. Boom. We'll do that. All right. Anything else we need to do? Should I just
That's
check the
good.
permissions to make sure that we
let's
have
double check and just say, yep, looks like the network path is
There,
good.
security, everybody can
Everyone
read
has
and
full
write.
control. Great.
Is that just wrenching your gut right now, just
Kind
knowing
of.
I just did that?
It's kind of like when you had that beef jerky earlier.
Okay. We're going to transport to site 2. Come on. We
We need a guitar or something.
We do. That is so bad. All right. Folders. Boom. Let's go see if the old... Check it out. The
Look at
old
that.
folder's here too. This also needs to be shared. So properties, sharing, share the folder. Make Alex cringe by letting everybody read and write to it. Once again, guys, what we said before, make sure your credentials in PDQ Deploy.
You know, Adam brings up a good point in chat, and he mentions that make sure that these users are domain users if you are in a domain environment, which you'd have to be since this is on a domain controller.
Absolutely. And then, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to hit properties, security, everyone, read, write, access. Now, at this point, you think we're good to go?
Nope.
We're close.
We're
very
not
close.
We're not there yet.
We need to make sure we can actually share that namespace. So we'll go to PDQ repo. And we'll go over to replicated folders, and we need to share this. It's not published right now.
It's not published.
So right now,
So we're just like in the building stage, making sure that everything's up and running, things are looking good before we hit the publish button
yep.
or share button.
like
Share
that.
and publish.
There
It
you go.
says. right there.
Is it both?
It does say both.
Okay.
I'll read it for you. share and publish.
Sure. What was that? Click next? Oh, one more time?
Click next.
Oh, okay, click next. Okay, we're going to share and publish this folder and make it available. Okay, there it is.
Yep, everything looks
Details.
good.
Now we need to name the parent folder on this. We called this PDQ repo. I want to call this we can call the file folder the same thing, or you can name it something different if you like. Because I can't spell crap, we're going to call it repo, R-E-P-O. Actually, that's not what we're going to call it. We're going to go in here and browse, and we're going to say this is part of the PDQ replication
right.
group.
That's right.
And then we are going to
Yeah.
name it right here instead of old folder, because that's a horrible name. We will call it repo.
We will call the new folder name repo. Yes.
Okay. We give it a next. Boom, boom, boom.
Everything looks good. Make sure you read. Make sure things match
Reading,
with
reading,
what
reading.
you thought
So-
you'd set up.
Published user namespace, web.pdq.com
That's-
/PDQ repo.
That's
That
the
is
UNC,
the UNC.
that we talked about.
Can we copy that? Control C, my friend.
I hope that
We'll
works.
try it like this, copy, because we're going to need that in a second. And go ahead and share it. Success. Once again,
Yay.
karma is smiling on me. Why do you laugh?
Because it's
I'm a
true.
good person. I do
I-
nice things
I'm
for
not
people
disagreeing.
all the time.
I just
All right, so I just opened up on Guinness. We're going to paste in here web.pdq.repo. There
and
it is.
Since we haven't added anything in there,
There's
it is an
nothing
empty.
in there, but if I back it up a little bit, we should be able to see the folder repo.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's
Now-
go add some stuff in there. or
Let's
there-
do this to make sure. Yes, absolutely. Let's go into the old folder on site 1 and let's make a new
Text
text document.
saying this isn't old data.
Put a number 1 on it so we know it came from site 1, will you?
1.
Not right there. That turns it into not a text file. There you go.
There we go. I can do
All
it.
right, now replications should be happening. We're going to bounce back over here to site 2. We're only going to do that once from
Nope,
now
yeah,
on.
no more.
Now the old folder. This is an
Hey.
old data text 1. Awesome. Now the great thing is here we can open that up and we can say this is data from site 2.
Control save.
I don't trust your hotkeys, buddy. I'm going to save it right here. Okay.
There you go.
Now, again, we're going to bounce back over.
I'm
And
just doing the noise now. I'm
You're just doing that. You just like, there it is, data from site 2. Okay, that was really quick because this is basically
like
nothing.
less than a kilobyte
It's
in size. probably.
Absolutely insignificant. Now, if you think about replicating, let's say a cumulative update that's a gig, it's going to take some time. Okay, so
It
something
can
to
be-
think about. Yeah.
Especially if you're doing like large updates Or what kind of large package do we have in the deploy?
Well, any of them, or any of the Windows cumulative updates are going to be big.
Yeah, the cumulative updates were the ones I was thinking
Windows
of.
7, that kind of thing.
And maybe it'd be a good idea, like I mentioned earlier with the whole bandwidth idea, is maybe setting this up and dragging them over to this repo late at night or sometime when you're not going to affect your users, especially if you're limited on bandwidth.
Well, let's do this. Okay, so first of all, I just shut down Site 1 and Site 2. We are on Guinness, the one we do our webcast from. Here it is. There's our UNC path.
Yep, let's copy
There's
that.
repo. Check it out. This isn't old data. It's there. We can see it from the UNC path. So how this is going to work with PDQ Deploy. Okay. Hopefully I've still got that copied because I can't type very well.
I hope so.
Now we've got some packages here. If you go to Options, Preferences, Repository, okay, I am going to browse to this. Okay, opens up a brand new guy here, and I'm gonna pre-stage
We're
this just to make my life easier. I'm gonna copy all of the install files that are in our repository over to our namespace and share. You'll notice it's copying. Thank goodness I didn't download anything big.
And see, you don't have to do this, right? This is just a pre-step so that when you change your...
Well, you're gonna have to do it, whether you do it now or whether you do it later.
True, but what I'm saying is if you were to do it after the fact, Deploy's going to complain.
Yeah, it will complain. That is a good point. And I'll show you what that complaint looks like. These are copied, okay? So there is Guinness, that's our repository. So what we are going to do is we're going to go change. Can you hit Control C on that? Make sure we've got that guy. We're going to go change this to our new UNC path. There it is. Now we hit save. And if we were at the wrong place, you'd see a bunch of warning signs here. So let's go make that happen, should we? Let's say I typed it incorrectly. And I had a 1 on the end of that. And we said save. Okay, it's going to go look in the wrong place. And you will notice these guys momentarily here will have a bunch of warning. There it is.
There they go.
Warning signs. Okay. That's
okay.
why I pre-moved those. Okay. So now let's say I needed to move these correctly or had to type the name correctly.
Or if this was a fresh install of Deploy and you had no packages downloaded yet, you wouldn't need to worry. But since
So
we
we're
already moved them over, it knows.
and again, I don't know if you noticed that I saved that, and you'll notice right back in here,
Yeah.
these guys are back and good to go. Now, pretty cool. You think we're done?
No,
We got more?
we got to check and make sure they replicated.
Well, okay, we got to make sure they're replicated. But the other thing we have to do is we have to go in here to Options and Preferences again,
And that too.
okay, and go to our.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Performance.
This is an important step.
If you do all that and you don't change this, it's kind of a moot point.
Kind of
okay?
redundant. Like we could have done all of that and said, "All right, we're done." We walk away,
And it would not work.
and it would have been useless.
How do we
because-
make it so that Site 1 grabs the deployment packages from, or Site 2, excuse me, from Site 2
You need to
You
change
gotta-
this setting right here
to pull?
to
Okay.
pull because it's going to say, "Hey, don't shove this down from where you're deploying it from." It's going to look and say, "Where can I grab this data?" Oh, look, I've got a DFS data store here on Site 2. I'm going to grab it from there rather than trying to send it over the WAN.
Yep. Again, we're going to save that bad boy. Now, the thing about that is, okay, the great thing about DFS and the Active Directory and that is it's going to calculate what's called the least cost path to your file. Okay, so the local file, let's say it was Site 1 and we got Site 2, okay? And let's say we're deploying Chrome to Site 2.
Okay.
It's going to go grab the local copy. Now, let's say Site 2 happens to be down. It will actually resolve to Site 1 and grab it across your network.
Correct.
Something to know. It
So
will do.
be aware of that as well, so that if you have a site-aware scenario where, let's say, Site 2 does go down, are you ready and set up so that the bandwidth that's coming over Site 1's WAN is that going to clog up your network? If so, maybe you need to think about setting up multiple DFS servers.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
A little backup, little redundancy.
Never hurt anyone.
Okay, the other thing to think about, will you type in Win space 10? There we go, Win 10. Okay, cumulative updates. Okay, back to what we were talking about. Okay, I'm going to download this. Now, you notice this thing came down sick fast because we got
Because we have sweet internet.
sweet internet. Okay, now I'm going to jump over here to Site 2. Let's see if that's replicated already. Microsoft updates.
Look at
Win
that.
10, 18.
1809. There it is.
It actually replicated. Now, the great thing is our site too happens to be internal, so it's on like
Kind of cheated.
super fast gig stuff. However, if it was across a 100 megabit connection, that would still be replicating.
Yeah.
Okay. Reason I bring this up, if I decided at this point I downloaded it, it looks good here, and I want to deploy this to site 2, and it's still in the process, okay, it may end up resolving the namespace back to site 1.
Yeah.
So you may want to do your downloads a day prior to.
To offset that, because if you were to download it and it's still replicating, like Lex mentioned, and you try to deploy, now it's going to have to pull from site 1, which is again defeating the purpose of having the DFS in the first place. So
Absolutely.
maybe what you need to do is check at site 2 to make sure that the checksums or the file sizes are the same as in site 1. So that way you know they're completely downloaded. What do you think?
What he said. Just gonna make you eat some more jerky.
Here, eat some more jerky.
Eat some more jerky. Do we have any questions, guys?
Yep, here's one. It seems PDQ Deploy push-pull for some application installs over DFS can cause an issue. I had an issue with Autocad erroring out during install with pull, yet push worked. Should this matter? Sincerely, Dustin M.
Colby.
I'm
Or-
going to take a
or
stab, and
Lex.
then we'll let Colby give you the right answer.
yeah.
Okay. So here's my thought. Okay, with your DFS, depending on now, AutoCAD's huge, right?
That's true. It
And
is a large
depending
file.
on this, right? I know Katie
package.
did a really great webcast on deploying AutoCAD, and she ran a batch file so that you didn't have to copy all the files across the network. The batch file actually called them from the network. So push pull DFS at this point, if it's a batch file, you know, you probably want to replicate the folder that those install files are at. I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's something to think about. Colby, any thoughts?
I'd be curious to know what the exact error was, because like you said, it is a large, it's large size and many files.
Yeah.
So it might have been it just didn't replicate by the time you're trying to deploy it. So it could have just been missing files.
Yeah, good point.
I would say if you're still having problems to email our support at support.pdq.com.
Yep.
Definitely.
But it should, in theory,
In theory?
work, yeah.
Hey, help an old lady across the street, then it'll work for you.
Turns out it
Turns
helps.
out karma, yeah, it does help. We got another question?
Yeah. Is there a way to use variables to update the UNC path? Thanks, Darren B.
Darren.
Is there a way to use variables to update UNC path? Well, you know, I will say this. If you look in a package, right, when you look at, see, it's using the repository variable, but that variable is set in the preferences. So can you use a variable in preferences to set that? Man, I would probably think no. I may have to defer to Colby. You know any different?
The repository path does support variables. You can
It
use
does?
variables in the path of the repository variable itself. There's even a button next to the path in preferences.
Let's take a look.
Well, listen to what he says, not me. Preferences, repository. Oh, check it out.
Yeah, variables. There you go.
All right.
The answer
Well, I
is
guess
yes.
if you use it, you can figure it out. Thanks, Colby. All right. I'll drink to that, except I'm out of scotch. So, all right. We got another question? Well, that's basically it, guys. So, please make sure after you get your application set up that you work out your timing for those big files to replicate to different sites. That'll probably be the biggest gotcha, or the most, if you don't take care of it, most consistent gotcha that might be out there for you. So, any thoughts?
Just make sure that you set the permissions appropriately.
Yeah, what he said. So, you guys, thank you again for watching. I'm Lex.
And I'm Alex from PDQ.com. See you.
Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Congratulations to our swag winners for the day, Mike B. and Dustin M. Go ahead, Mike and Dustin, send your info to webcast@pdq.com. Let us know what piece of swag you would like, and tell us your address, where to send it, and we'll get that sent out to you. The rest of you, thanks for tuning in. We hope you learned a little something, and we'll hopefully catch you next week.